well, bro, if smoking bongs was a sport, do you think you'd be a competitor?
Oh, 100%, 100%. I'd still be somewhere up there. Nah, but fucking.
I'm pretty sure these days, like with the acceptance of weed, you reckon there's a weed Olympics?
Yeah, 100%.
Is there a weed Olympics?
There would be.
Fuck, Nimbin, bro, they can't get their act together. I'm talking about like Olympics, like you go in, you get tracksuits with your fucking country or your area, like on there. Fuck, we should look at that. Why don't we start a weed Olympics? I don't give a fuck. Like me personally, I'm not smoking. I think it would just be hilarious to like associate athleticism with weed smoking. Sorry, but you're an inspiration, Kobie Dee.
Just give me credit when credit's due. Once you start this shit up,
you know, yeah, bro, we'll go partners. And you know what? The thing is, I'm not going to push becoming a bong rat on anyone, right? You have to hold yourself with the utmost professionalism, you know? So if there's not a technique to it, we don't want to hear about it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you guys in? All right, so this is the proof that it's intellectual property right now. It's us, all right? All right, bet. All right, hectic. That's mad, man. So it's funny. Well, it's not mad, but it's funny that, you know, you picked up the weed and stuff like that, and that would have led to other shit as well. How do you feel about that looking back? Like, I mean, like, not that it's too much of a drag, because we'll talk about later, you know, like fucking your artistry as far as creative goes, but, you know, looking back on that, you know, do you feel as though there was few holes in the system, you know, for youngins to get into that sort of shit?
Yeah, I guess for me, it was always sort of, growing up in my area, everyone played footy. Like, it was, like, to me, that was, like, that was the only way a lot of people made it out. Like, because there's a lot of the best footy players went to the same school that I went to, like Fox at Okai came, James Roberts, Dylan Walker, like, heaps of them came to my school, and it was like, yeah, I just seeing all them like making it in the NRL and all that stuff. It just always seemed like everyone was making it in footy or something like that. And for me, I wasn't the biggest fan of footy. Like, I wouldn't watch footy on the weekends. I wouldn't do none of that stuff. So then, I guess because I didn't follow that sort of stuff, and seeing all the other stuff in the community that sort of excited me in a different way, stuff that I actually like was sort of interested in. Yeah. I think I sort of went down that direction, because I felt like there was only those two ways. Like, you either make it in sport or you do the other shit that everyone else is doing.
Yeah, straight up, man. And so you were sort of one of those kids, more like you know, you're bored, and so like, all right, cool. Well, if people are going to be playing footy, I'm going to be playing footy. But footy didn't necessarily interest you. It was just that, well, I'll chuck a footy around because I'm bored. You know what I mean? But then as soon as the bong's here.
Well, it was my mum, really. My mum was like, you're fucking playing sport. Like, my mum was like, because she knew if I'm not playing sport, I'm out doing fucking...
Straight up.
Running the streets or some shit like that. So my mum always sort of wanted to keep me doing some sort of sport. Yeah, so true. Like, that's why I did the karate and nippers and stuff. I was always experimenting with like if I didn't like this, then I'd try something else. But my mum just wanted me to stay with the sports. Yeah, like it just wasn't really my thing. I was good at sports. Yeah. Like when I was doing karate, I was fucking excelling in that and shit. And but yeah, once I started smoking pot and shit, it all just stopped. And for me, I think like I always knew that I was gonna smoke pot one day. Like, I grew up fucking listening to Snoop Dogg and Tupac and like all that shit and Easy.
Every day, like in your ears, you wake up, you can just hear Nate that smoke weed every day. It's like, damn, one day I'm gonna be that.
100%. I was a little kid watching Up and Smoke tour, watching that fucking
Bro, it was fucking cool as shit, eh?
100%. And it's like once you start, like, I had older cousins and shit that were already doing that shit, and it just like
felt like a matter of time.
Yeah, it was like I knew it was. I knew the first chance that I got to do it, I was gonna do it.
That's crazy, man, and like that's actually dope because it's gonna sort of context. So I'll come back around and we'll talk about some other shit later. You know, but it's crazy that it was so early. But big props to your mum as well, man. I'm like, you know, we know as being parents, man. It's like, you know, you worry about that sort of stuff, obviously, and it does. It's when you got your own responsibilities as well to make sure that you're providing for your kid and stuff. It's not just as easy to make sure that your kids are going to be doing extracurricular shit all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And there's only so much you can do as a parent, man. So big props to your mum for trying to keep you focused as well.
Shout out, mama.
Shout out, mama. Going forward then, and then, obviously you're starting to write raps at 10. That's hectic. So what was your first, how did that go initially? And at what age did you start to see a bit of, I don't know, like, I don't want to say it's like success, but like started getting involved in other areas of like, maybe performing or rapping in front of cousins or rapping in front of like school or some shit?
Well, I used to write and I would show, I don't even know if I was showing friends at that time, but I showed my mum. I used to show my mum. My mum used to be like, you can't be swearing, or like, she'd be like, can you just make a rap without all the swearing in it? She goes, she said I was good. She always said I was good. Like, I think she was a bit surprised of how good I was at that age. But yeah, she just always pull me up on the swearing. And like, still to this day, I see her as like my biggest critic, but my biggest fan. Like, she'll always tell me that she loves it, but then she'll find something to fucking. But yeah, I started like just doing that, and then I got into high school, and I met one of my mates, Jack Cook, and he's a year older than me, and he was rapping, and he was like the only other rapper that I knew my age in my area that was freely doing it, like out there, like doing it in front of people, and like I was like, fuck, that's hectic, like you actually showing people this. And he came like one of my influences, and like became like my best friend. And we're still good friends to this day. And we just started writing raps and putting them on Facebook and shit, just writing them in notes and putting them on Facebook. Key styles and like
poetry, baby.
We copped mad fucking shit from everyone at school. Like, everyone was like, what the fuck are you writing? Like, what are you doing?
Tell me you still see those people out and about that were giving you shit back in the day.
That's singing my shit now? Yeah, 100%. 100%. No, it wasn't.
Coming up to you as well, hey man, I'm so glad you made it. I always believed, sorry for talking shit, but I always believed like low key.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, it wasn't until I was 14 and we recorded our first ever track. And then when people heard it recorded, like I didn't expect anyone to sort of hear it. I went to school, and like 2 days later, everyone had it on their phones at school. Like, it was like when you could Bluetooth. Like, everyone was fucking Bluetoothing it to each other, and like people was just like rapping me like my verse and shit. And I'm like, this is hectic. And it just started sort of blowing up from there. Like, it's still on YouTube to this day. I was like,
how did you record it? Was it just
we know Heaps Decent?
Yeah.
So Heaps Decent started fucking, they recorded my first ever shit. Shantan recorded my first ever shit.
Fucking Shantan the man. We'll talk about that, homie.
Shout out
later.
Shantan.
Shout out Shantan, man. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy then, man. So like, what was then, like, going forward, because then, it takes a bit of momentum from there, but that's a real good leg in, because then people sort of start knowing your name, you start to get, build opportunities off that, whatnot. So tell me, like, what was the first, I suppose, real time where then you had to get up and perform it, and like where I don't want to say maybe a paid gig, but the first time you felt like, yo, I'm getting respect and I'm getting put on a stage or whatever?
Fuck, I don't know, because I did a lot of shows when I was younger. Like,
was it at the Bong Olympics?
for me, I had my own Bong Olympics in the fucking
copyright Kobie Dee Monroe.
But no, because I've done a lot of stuff with Weave Youth and Community Services.
Yeah, true. Because you've been involved with Weave for how long?
Yeah, since I was like 8 years old, 8 or 9 years old. So that, like, Weave is like literally my family. Like I've known like all the workers. Yeah, they've watched me grow up, and we've got a close relationship, and so they've really helped me like throughout my whole life. I've always been involved in their programs and shit. And they got a program called Cool Kids Program, and it's like an early intervention program for kids, and they come to our schools, and they take us on after school programs. And the policy is like, if you don't go to school that day, you can't go on the programs. So like the attendance shot up like. I don't want to say the percentage because I don't know for sure, but it shot up like heaps.
Well, you would be able to just tell, because like you would tell like the difference between like, oh shit, it's gone from like hardly any kids here, but now I see a whole bunch of kids here.
100%, because we all knew that we wanted to go on them programs. And like, so we made sure we was at school, and it was like, because I was there when it first started, that those programs first started. And then growing up, they didn't do the programs anymore after high school. So we sort of wanted to keep doing it. So they ended up starting another program that was called Switch Leaders, and we ended up helping out the kids in primary school transition to high school and shit like that. And then eventually, like, we started becoming ambassadors for this campaign called Justice Reinvestment.
Yep.
And that's about early intervention and stuff, and about instead of locking young kids up, put them into programs like Cool Kids, or like programs to help kids instead of just locking them up. And fucking we went to like some of the seminars at fucking Government House, shit like that, and rapping for the Governor General. Like I was like 13, rapping for the Governor General. Maroubra, like,
yo, what?
Shit like that, like,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was.
How did you feel? Like, did you not know the difference? Like, because obviously, okay, cool, you know it's a big deal because you're rapping for these people, but in terms of like knowing the difference between, you know, maybe should I be rapping in front of a different audience, or like, you sort of know, did you sort of know the importance of why you're rapping for those people?
It was different because like those crowds are full of people in suits and shit. But after, like, they fucking loved us. Like it was weird. It was like the shit that I was talking at that age. Like a lot of people come up and they're like, it was like they've never fucking heard someone talk about that shit, or like, I don't know, it was weird. I was just so interested.
I could understand that,
and that's what influenced me a lot to write stuff like Jody, or write stuff like what I do now, because I know there's people out there that just haven't grown up around the shit that we've been through. They don't know what the fuck we've been through, and like they don't know what's going on in our side of town. They don't know what happens in our streets. And it was like, at a young age, I seen how interested, and I seen how much they actually, some of them did want to know, did want to learn about that stuff. And it's just, yeah, I think that's why I've always been conscious about what I say.
I wanted to talk to you something really positive about what you're doing as well, bro. It just makes me happy to see like a big movement for, you know, I don't want to just say Indigenous, you know, like the poly homies, you know, and just like brown Australia getting represented, like on a scale where it's like reputable commercial music, but like with integrity. You know, none of the, you know, back in the day, like, and I'm not necessarily saying for Australian hip hop or music necessarily, but just the music game in general, like they'd sort of like try to construct how they think things should sound, and that was always coming from like a white CEO, you know. So you know, the surgence of like independent music and, you know, the artists and creative taking back the control of what that's going to sound like, we've been able to see, you know, more pockets of what is Sydney hip hop and what is like music be able to like come up and, you know, do what they want to do. So there's been a fucking massive, you know, Indigenous push, you know. You know, and we've got so many like Indigenous representatives, you know, out, you know, we've got, you know, Nookie, you know, bro, you got like AB Original, you know, Charles Briggs. It's like there's so much more to listen to. And coming up, you know, like you said, sort of seeing YMC and like, and sort of looking at, you know, seeing your own colour right there, but that being the only shit, to now seeing like, fuck, you know what, there's a force out there, you know, we got strong, you know, black men and women on the mic representing. How does it make you feel now being part of that movement?
Well, it makes me feel like 100% grateful that I'm in the scene now. Like, and like, especially at my age too. Like, cause I remember back watching my first ever live performance that I ever seen was Last Connection. Yeah. Fucking, Joel and Naomi, fucking, I don't know how old I was. I think I was like 12 or something. Yeah. I was going through the city with my family, and we just heard all this fucking music going on. And it was like in the middle of fucking you know where the Link Cafe and stuff is?
Yeah. Martin Place.
Yeah, Martin Place. In the middle of there was this big fucking stage, and there's all kinds of like just listening to all this music. Arrested Development was there.
Yo, I think I remember that.
It was crazy, and like
it was crazy.
Yeah, and that was like my first time watching like a live performance like that, like where it's just fucking like all rappers and stuff, and then fucking and yeah, watching them perform, I was like, it just gave me like this sense of pride. I was like, yeah, fucking oath, like.
And that was relevant. That was like current at the time, and it was on the switch where it was like starting to go in a new direction.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And like, cause the funny thing too is like Naomi. I remember back when she was with oh fuck, don't tell me I forgot the name.
What?
She was in the group with Shakaya, that's it.
Bro, I remember Shakaya, bro. You know what's crazy? Because I'm still cool with Naomi. I did a track with him.
Yeah.
When I was with Sony, and they didn't take my verse because it was not like, I don't know. They just didn't take it because it wasn't like commercial enough.
Yeah.
But I submitted a full verse, bro, to get on there. I still got it at home somewhere.
Oh,
I should send it to her. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, like, cause when I was younger, I used to think every black person was Aboriginal. Like, that's just like, I used to ask my mum when I was little, and like Bow Wow, I was mad into Bow Wow when I was little.
Yeah.
And fucking I remember I just keep asking her, are they Aboriginal? And like one day, like they come on MTV or Rage. It was Rage. And fucking she just straight away she goes, oh, they're Aboriginal. And like I was like, oh yeah. And it was like my first time seeing it on TV.
Mad.
I was like, yeah. It's those moments, like it's where I see my own people like making it, like that I can just remember them so vivid because it was like
stand out.
Big moments for me. Briggs, when he fucking when AB Original performed at Splendor in the Grass, that shit to me was like fucking that's when I knew like fucking I was like I'm gonna do that one day, like that for me, like because I was always a Briggs fan. Like I remember in school there was the Vibe magazines. We used to get him in the Corey room, and I remember just reading about him at first before hearing his music. I'm like, oh yeah, and I started checking his stuff out. I heard Wrong Brother first, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this cunt's mad. Like, and like, cause maybe in heaps in Ice Cube and shit, I used to think that they sound like heaps like Ice Cube, and like, I started showing him to every cunt.
He had a powerful voice as well, you know, like.
And like all my mates started getting into him. Like we all started listening to him and shit, and like really looked up to him, and like that's why we going about apples. Is like it was something I always wanted to do, and like. It was like a dream come true, like doing a show with him and fucking all that. But yeah, at Splendor in the Grass, 2018, I think it was. Might have been 2018. No, 2017. Schoolboy Q performed that as well. I don't know, but like, yeah, that really changed a lot for me. I knew that. I don't know, especially hearing the crowd sing his lyrics back as well, and him waving the Koori flag. I was like, fuck, people actually listening to us. Like, people actually want to hear like black fellas like rap. People actually want to hear what black fellas have to say.
And that you would have had a little bit of experience from before, but then seeing it on that stage, you'd be like, yo, this is like the bigger version of what I want to do.
Cause like, especially to me, it was like I just seen all white people singing his stuff and him waving the flag.
There's a trip though, right?
Yeah, like. Him waving the flag and them rapping the lyrics, it was like, to me, I was like, fucking off, like, yeah.
Nah, bro, I could appreciate it. You know, it's the same way, like, you know, because obviously, like, you know, in hip hop, I try to educate myself about it as well, and like, you know, I find it quite funny that, you know, this, you know, black driven musical expression, you know, it's all inclusive, but simultaneously, like, you know, the roots and where it started, but then to have such an impact on white audiences and them just like living vicariously through these lyrics and this music, etc. And for all the trotting down and the disadvantage that you have as like a young Indigenous man or you know, a young black man, and then to have you know, all of a sudden in these little pockets of times, like the roles are reversed. It's like now we're like the main voice that you're listening to. You know what I mean? So it reverses the power for that split second, which would have been crazy to see.
100%, because like it goes back to the people in the suits, like predominantly white people. Because growing up, like just knowing our history, like like knowing what happened and stuff, I just always felt this just distrust for white people. Like,
Yeah.
Like my grandfather's white and stuff. You know, I've got white blood in me and stuff as well. Like, but like I don't know. Like growing up as a black fella, I just always just had this sort of distrust for white people. Like I never really felt like as a black fella, like people care about our voice. People care about fucking like what's going on in our communities, or people care about like what happens to our families, what happened to like our ancestors. Like I just never thought people cared. So seeing what hip hop does, like how people actually listen to us, like it just I always knew like it was something that I wanted to do, because just saying that like it can make people listen to us
straight up, man. And I think that, you know, it's interesting, and just to touch sort of back is like, you know, the way that in which you choose, or that you've developed in terms of, I don't know, taking responsibility for your voice and like expressing yourself in a way that is fucking engaging. Do you know what I mean? And truthful. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the story type, bro. It's hectic to see, bro. So, you know, big ups on that, man. And, you know, fucking sky's the limit for you, I swear to God.